This video is sponsored by NOLA Mattress. Mass shootings dominate the news today. Columbine, Sandy Hook, Virginia Tech. But what if I told you the deadliest school massacre in American history didn't involve a single gunshot? May 18th, 1927. A small town in Michigan wakes to a quiet morning. Parents send their children to school, unaware that it will be the last time they ever see them alive. Behind this face was a man consumed by hatred, a man who spent months plotting revenge. And when the moment came, he carried out a plan so devastating, so unthinkable, that it left an entire town in ruins. So how did a respected member of the community become a mass murderer? What drove Andrew Kehoe to meticulously plan an attack against innocent children? And why has time nearly erased the deadliest school massacre in U.S. history? Let's try and find out.
Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History.
Before he became America's deadliest school murderer, Andrew Kehoe was just another man in a small town. A farmer, a husband, a respected member of the community. But beneath the surface, something darker was brewing. Born in 1872 in Tecumseh, Michigan, Kehoe was raised on a farm and later attended Michigan State Agricultural College, where he studied electrical engineering. He briefly worked in St. Louis, Missouri, before moving back to Michigan. In 1912, he and his wife Nellie purchased an 185-acre farm in Bath Township, using money from her inheritance. Unlike other farmers, Kehoe wasn't particularly interested in farming. He spent more time tinkering with electrical projects and explosives than growing crops. Shortly after their arrival, neighbors would begin to notice his temper. If a piece of farm equipment broke, he didn't just fix it, he destroyed it. If an animal became sick, he didn't try to save it, he killed it. Kehoe wasn't just frugal, he was cold, calculating, and ruthless. By 1926, Kehoe's farm was failing due to mounting debt and bad financial decisions. On top of that, his wife Nellie was sick, requiring expensive medical treatment. Nellie suffered from tuberculosis, which was referred to as consumption at the time. It was a slow, debilitating disease that led to chronic coughing, weight loss, weakness, and eventually death. By 1927, her condition had worsened, and Kehoe was spending more money on her medical care, adding to his already mounting financial stress. Some reports suggest that she may have been bedridden, or at least too weak to function normally in the weeks leading up to the massacre. Kehoe had taken out loans he couldn't repay, and the bank was preparing to foreclose on his farm. But instead of accepting responsibility, Kehoe blamed the Bath Consolidated School for the property taxes he had to pay. As the school board treasurer, he had direct access to the school's finances, which fueled his obsession. In his mind, the school hadn't just taken his money, it had taken his life, and he was going to make them pay. Kehoe was controlling and manipulative, often arguing over every school board decision. He became more distant and irritable, avoiding his neighbors. He stopped maintaining his farm, and his land became overgrown, his fields empty. Neighbors would later recall a disturbing event. Kehoe's horse struggled to pull a plow. Rather than train it or sell it, he shot it in the head. Kehoe essentially had given up on the farm. He stopped trying to fix his problems. Instead, he was planning on how to destroy everything around him. For months, Kehoe plotted his revenge. And no one, not his neighbors, not his wife, not even the students who sat in their classrooms, had any idea that beneath their feet, the countdown to destruction had already begun. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep, head to nolamattress.com/history and use the code FORGOTTEN to to get $50 off your mattress plus 2 free pillows with select models. So, it's been 6 weeks since I got my NOLA mattress, and I couldn't be happier. I'm a side and back sleeper, and this mattress has the perfect firmness level I was looking for. I fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and I don't wake up sore like I used to. What really sold me was how cool it sleeps, especially compared to my old mattress. And the setup was super simple. It came compressed in a box, delivered free to my door, and was ready in minutes. The mattress is also fiberglass free and is a CertiPure US certified mattress. So no off-gassing, no sketchy chemicals, just high quality sleep. Plus it's made to order right here in the US at their Arizona factory. You also get 120 nights to try it, risk-free. Plus it comes with a limited lifetime warranty. Financing options are available too if you need them. That being said, I genuinely love my NOLA mattress, and I think you will too. So again, head to nolamattress.com/history and use code FORGOTTEN for $50 off and 2 free pillows with select mattresses. Offers like this don't last, so get your NOLA mattress today. Unlike most of his neighbors, Kehoe had no children, and in the small town where family was everything, he and his wife Nellie became outsiders in their own community. Did this make it easier for him to target a school? While other parents saw the school as a place of hope and future, Kehoe saw it as a drain on his money. Nothing more. He didn't know the children. He didn't care about them. Maybe that's why, when he set his plans in motion, he felt no hesitation. These weren't his children. This wasn't his future. He was about to lose everything, so why should anyone else get to keep theirs? Kehoe spent months preparing for his attack, using the one skill that made him truly dangerous, his knowledge of electricity and explosives. As the school board treasurer, Kehoe wasn't just handling the finances. He had a role in school operations, including overseeing maintenance and repairs. He was known for being a handyman and often volunteered to fix school wiring and mechanical issues. The Bath Consolidated School was still new, as it was built in 1922, and routine maintenance was needed. Kehoe, wanting control over everything, offered to do some repair work himself, free of charge. To the school staff, this seemed like a generous gesture. Why pay someone when the school board member was willing to help? No one thought twice when they saw Kehoe working in the basement, checking wires or accessing crawl spaces. No one knew that hidden inside his toolbox, he was smuggling in something deadly. Over the next several months, Kehoe hid dynamite and pyrrolitol beneath the school floorboards. Pyrrolitol was a World War I era explosive, sold cheaply to farmers for clearing land, so its presence wouldn't raise suspicion. Kehoe placed the explosives in crawl spaces, wiring them into the school's electrical system. He set up timed detonators, ensuring the bombs would go off during school hours, when every classroom was full. By 1927, Kehoe had rigged hundreds of pounds of explosives, enough to level the school completely. But Kehoe wasn't planning to destroy the school. He planned to wipe out everything tied to his life. He rigged his house, his barn, and even his outbuildings with explosives, ensuring nothing would be left behind. He slaughtered his farm animals, tying his horses inside the barn so they couldn't escape the fire. Kehoe wasn't planning to run. He wasn't planning to survive. This wasn't just revenge. He was prepared to go down with everything. In the days leading up to the massacre, Kehoe seemed oddly calm. Neighbors recalled seeing him smiling and waving, as if he had finally found peace. But there was one last chilling act before the attack. He nailed a handwritten sign to his farm fence reading, "Criminals are made, not born." No one knew what it meant. No one suspected what was about to happen, and no one could have imagined the horror that was coming. May 18th, 1927 would be a morning that Bath, Michigan would never forget. But before the school bombing, before the explosion that would rip through an entire generation, Kehoe had one more life to take, his own wife. Sometime before sunrise, Kehoe killed his wife Nellie. Her exact cause of death is unknown, but reports suggest he bludgeoned her to death. Then he dragged her lifeless body to a cart in the barn, covering it with fuel-soaked debris. Some believe Kehoe killed Nellie to spare her from what was coming. Others believe she was just another loose end in his plan. Either way, she was his first victim. Before leaving the farm, Kehoe set a timer and left the property just as the charges ignited. Within moments, his house, barn, and outbuildings were engulfed in flames. Neighbors saw the fire and rushed to help, completely unaware that just a few miles away, Kehoe had already set his real plan in motion. As neighbors fought the fire, the first explosion at the school happened minutes later. At 8:45 a.m., the first explosion at the school erupted. A massive blast tore apart the north wing of the school. 38 children were killed instantly. The explosion could be heard miles away, sending parents running towards the school. The town was in chaos. Parents screamed their children's names. Rescuers pulled bodies from the rubble. But the horror wasn't over. Investigators later discovered something horrifying. 500 more pounds of dynamite had been hidden beneath the school's south wing, but for reasons that remain a mystery, it never detonated. Some believe that the first blast damaged the wiring. Others think Kehoe made a mistake. But one thing is certain, that if that second bomb had gone off, the death toll would have been even higher. Even though his full plan didn't work, Kehoe wasn't finished. He had one final move to make. As survivors pulled children from the rubble, Kehoe drove back to the school. His truck was wired with dynamite, nails, and scrap metal. Essentially, a giant bomb. He waved over School Superintendent Emery Hayuk, acting as if he had something important to say. Then, he triggered the detonator. The explosion killed Kehoe instantly, along with Hayuk, several bystanders, and a child who had survived the first blast. Just like that, Kehoe's plan was complete. He had wiped out his farm, he had wiped out the school, and he had wiped out himself. The town of Bath, Michigan had been destroyed. Not by war, not by a natural disaster, but by one man's obsession with revenge. In total, 46 lives were lost. 39 of them were children. Another 58 people were injured and many permanently scarred. Survivors were pulled from the rubble, many badly burned or wounded. Parents searched desperately for their children, only to find that many had been killed instantly. Bodies were laid in rows near the schoolyard, waiting for identification. The town, once quiet and peaceful, was now filled with grief and disbelief. Entire families were shattered. A generation of children was nearly wiped out in a single morning. Their survivors would never forget what they saw that day. While emergency crews focused on the schools, others turned their attention to Kehoe's burning farm. Among the charred ruins, they made a chilling discovery. Nellie Kehoe's body, tied to a cart, burned beyond recognition. It was then that investigators realized that Kehoe had planned to waste everything: his farm, his wife, the school, and himself. But why did he do it? Kehoe left no clear explanation beyond his handwritten sign that read, "Criminals are made, not born." Some believe his anger was over taxes and debt that pushed him over the edge. Others think his wife's illness and their childless marriage made him feel like he had nothing left to live for. Modern psychologists suggest he displayed traits of a sociopath, a man who saw people, even children, as obstacles, not human beings. So why was the Bath School Massacre forgotten? Well, the attack was overshadowed by bigger historical events. In 1929, the Great Depression began, just 2 years later, dominating the headlines. Then, World War II erupted, the deadliest conflict in history, which made Kehoe's massacre seem small in comparison. The town of Bath tried to move on, the best they could after such a tragedy. The school was rebuilt within a year. Survivors and families chose to bury the past rather than relive it. Today, a simple stone plaque stands where the school once was, honoring the victims. The Bath community still holds remembrance ceremonies, ensuring that the tragedy is never completely erased. Time has moved on, but the question remains, how does a man become capable of such evil? And why did the world choose to forget it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thank you for watching Forgotten History. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments or show ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.